Put that on, put that back on. Give me a 5 before 5 if you can see and hear me. And yeah, I apologise for having this mug on my screen. But after watching and reading and seeing all the information coming back from the rape and torture inquiry that was put on by Rupert Lowe and others, and then today this comes out: Afghan asylum seeker guilty of raping a girl of 12. He abducted her and raped her. Any rape of a 12-year-old is brutal for obvious reasons. But this was particularly brutal. He then decided he wanted to video her, and I've got the images of that. So the question to everyone watching and listening to this is one, when will the English rise? And two, when is enough enough? It's fairly obvious to me that what is going on is orchestrated to rile us up for a particular reason. And I believe that reason is because they want us in a civil war situation where they control us, and they will, because they are armed and we are not. And the second reason is they need a convention parliament to rewrite the constitution. That's what they're doing. There are other ways of rising up. You need to be a big enough group, and let's have it right, from the 2011 census, English-only national identity was 32.4 million, as opposed to 11 million, or 19%, of British-only. Half of the 11 million are direct foreigners, possibly a lot more. In fact, I would say it's a lot more. White British is an absolute minority in this country, yet they have control over the media, they have control over alt media, they have control over virtually everything. And they are the ones allowing this to continue. Right? So I just want to make sure everyone understands what I'm saying here. I am English. I am not British. British is a legal fiction. It was created 3 years after the Second World War ended. We lost the Second World War. We lost to the Soviet Union. And the British Nationality Act of 1948 removed the protections against the English, the Scottish, the Welsh, the Irish, and the Cornish, and brought into effect and allowed foreigners to be in our parliament. That's exactly what happened. And anyone who tells you different is either ignorant or lying. And the reason they don't like people like me is because I'm a working class man that reads the Constitution, that understands the Constitution better than people like Sir James Eadie, who get paid £8 million a year out of your taxes to defend, under contract, the British government. And they regard him as a constitutional expert. What he is subverting the English Constitution, subverting our nation, and assisting the British government in destroying our rights. Now, those who are English watching this, and shamefully those who believe they are British, need to understand that the man on the screen is on his way, and was on his way, to getting a British passport. Anyone who says, and I had one today, a troll, who states, but I was born in Northern Ireland. My dad was Scottish, my mum was Irish, but my ancestry goes all the way back to King Alfred, right? That is an extremely ignorant troll. He only had 17 followers, right? Extremely ignorant, extremely arrogant in what he believes, because he has been indoctrinated to believe it. It's only stupid people that once they are told what it is that makes them British, and it is not the fact that your mum is Scottish and your dad is English. That does not make you British. What makes you British is a legal fiction created by a statutory authority, a legal fiction, I'll say it again, British, created by a statutory authority, the British Nationality Act 1948 and British Nationality Act 1981, that erased the other nations. And the person who did that previous to that was Joseph Stalin in the Soviet Union. Can I make it any simpler? No. But those people that are in control of England allowed this person on the screen, I'll refer to him by his proper name, this cunt on the screen, right, has raped and abducted and raped a 12-year-old girl, an English girl, violently raping her, not just raping her. When I say just raping her, you all should know what I mean. I'm not belittling any form of penetration. This is a grown man raping a 12-year-old. And the rape itself was more violent. What are the government then doing? This is happening all over the country. There are currently a number of trials going on. Some of them are going on at weekends. The press are not being told. One of the reasons why the press are not being told and why the details of the trials are not being released to the public is because of people like Tommy Robinson. This is a positive, not a negative, that was getting hold of that information and turning up at them calls, right? And highlighting rapes. But then other people started to do that. In particular, a certain individual from the Times newspaper started picking up on it, started having a go about Tommy Robinson because he didn't like the fact that Tommy Robinson was doing his job. In fact, I get that from British solicitors and British lawyers because they don't like the fact that I'm doing their job. But again, I'm seeing this. I'm going to take it off your screen because it made me feel sick reading it and watching it. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Crucially important. If you're watching on catch up, hit the like button. If you're watching on catch up, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. Put instant, and when I go live, I'll pop up on your screen. This is one of the only, in fact, I think it's the only free speech platform. What do I mean by that? I mean that we will monitor and we will limit negative people trolling in our own channel, or sometimes worse than that. And that is because when you have a freedom of speech platform and you are the operator of that platform, or channel I should say, then you have a responsibility. With rights comes responsibility, right? And it's important for people to understand that. It does not give you the right to say anything that you want. If you say things that are defamation against the law, if you incite violence, if you promote terrorism, for example, any of the things that you could not do in normal legal circumstances, you can't do on this channel. But other than that, you can. If you are a unionist or Zionist, there's plenty of places you can go. The BBC is probably the biggest one that you all know of, right? If you are a Zionist, if you are GB News, for example, loves a bit of Zionism, and if you want that, then go there. But you certainly wouldn't you wouldn't really want to watch this channel. So, saying that, thank you for watching. Greetings, I don't see any troll doing a great job. Did anyone check my fact that cannabis is safer than water? The other person charged was found not guilty. I don't know what you mean. Green Baker, 5B5. Everyone out there watching, don't forget, hit the button and send it out. There's a couple of things I want to show you now. I am going to get into the law in the second part of this because there was a question put out today by Bo from Lotus Eaters, and he directed it at David Starkey. And why he asked David Starkey, I would never know, because David Starkey is a historian, not a legal historian, and certainly, in my opinion, doesn't know the law. They was asking questions referring back again to the Magna Carta. And their question was, can you settle an argument in the office? Hopefully you can all hear me again now. And there it is on there. Let me see if I can take that one off. FaceTime camera. Hopefully I'm back on. I think it's the system running out of memory. Can you all see and hear me again? It's just because I've got so much open. I think I've just sussed out why it does it. Yeah, can hear you. Anonymous cat. Good evening, everyone. Everyone out there, evening all, got in. 5B5, right, so I'm back again. What I'm going to do is, touch wood, is I'm going to show you some things. We're going to go through some of this stuff. I'm not sure if all of this, let me take that one out and go back to some of these bits here. I'm going to take this one up and put it on the screen. You won't like these things, but no one else is talking about it really. So I will be talking about it for the certainly the next 15, maybe 20 minutes. So on your screen, touch wood, you are seeing Rape Gang Survivor. It was just getting like more and more non-stop phone calls. Who I was. I couldn't walk down the street without cars pulling up and just saying, get in now. Inquiry panelist. And what would happen when you get into a car? Survivor. They just take us off to our house or wherever, and that's when all the bad stuff would happen. Panelists. They'd rape you. Survivor, yeah. They wouldn't take no for an answer. It was on a daily basis. It was like you'd be in one car and then you'd get a phone call. You'd be better come and meet me now. So you'd get out of that one car. You'd be in the next car. So it was about 10 in one night, the Rape Gang inquiry. I'm going to go through some other things here because some very harrowing. This is all harrowing, by the way. And thanks to the DUP, Carla Lockhart, for participating in our inquiry today, a cross-party approach covering all corners of our country. And again, I'm sick of this our country nonsense, right? Rape Gang Survivor. I was beaten black and blue, raped, not only sexually raped with their body parts themselves, but with objects as well. There was an incident. I was taken to hospital It's not even in my medical record, so they've omitted it from medical records. I was taken to A&E because my vagina was split open from a glass bottle. The rape gang inquiry, again, one of the many brave survivors who've spoken out, and bearing in mind lots more are now coming forward. Bearing in mind there's potentially up to a million victims, right? This isn't minor, people. This is the most major thing that's ever happened, and the government are now trying to delete records of it, right? Rape gang survivor. I want it to stop and not happen to any other children, and for people to actually act and do something and stop being so scared. Again, I'm going to show you this in a minute because there's a petition that I want everyone to look at. But this one here, inquiry panelist. How many different men do you think raped you over that period when you were 16? Rape gang survivor, about 100. Panelist, when you were 16 years old. Survivor, yeah. Again, that one I've read out. There's another one here that is extremely... also, it's worth noting that a female gang member would also threaten to tie people up to a lamppost and get them raped by black men whenever she was angry at them. So I stayed silent. I stayed quiet, and I thought, I need to figure this out for myself. I'm going to stop eating completely, cut all my hair off, really short, dyed it neon pink, and I cut myself. I cut myself to shreds. I made myself as ugly as possible. Now, this is one that is particularly bad, but they're all bad. Rape gang survivor. When I was 15, they trafficked me to Birmingham. I walked into the bathroom in the flat and there was a dead girl in the bath. And bearing in mind, people, they've actually trafficked people out to Pakistan. So again, this was put out 8 hours ago. The Home Office must act urgently. I'm going to bring this up on the screen. Hopefully you can read it. I haven't gone back to my Touchwood. You can see this. I'll have to probably stop my pinging. I don't know how to stop the pinging. Can everyone see what's going on now? It's gone down a bit, hasn't it? Let me have a look. Let's have a look. That this House expresses great concern at evidence presented during recent independent hearings into organised child sexual exploitation, indicating that a number of women and girls may have been trafficked overseas to Pakistan and elsewhere by those responsible for their abuse. Notes that the rape and gang inquiry have received multiple witness statements alleging that victims were deliberately targeted to be removed from the United Kingdom in order to maintain control, prevent disclosure and obstruct investigation. Recognises that such allegations, let me mute that because probably people are hearing that, proven would constitute serious offences including human trafficking and modern slavery. Further recognises the profound safeguarding failures that would be implied if victims were able to taken abroad without effective intervention by public authorities, and calls on the government to initiate, as a matter of urgency, a full and properly resourced national investigation into the alleged overseas trafficking of victims connected to organised sexual exploitation. Just to make sure you're aware of this, people, there are girls and women currently being held who are English in Pakistan being raped. Just to make sure you all get that is it. Now, there was something else I wanted to show you. I'm going to go back to the rape inquiry because I think it's important. there is a particular one. Now, I want to show everyone that X has labelled this post as containing graphic content. So X, everyone should understand this, X is censoring the information from the inquiry, right? And let me now show you what they describe. This is what X is saying is graphic, right? So I'll bring it up on your screen so you can see it. Here it is. Rape gang survivor. I was beaten black and blue, raped, not only sexually raped with their body parts themselves, but with objects as well. There was an incident. I was taken to hospital. It's not even in my medical records. I was taken to A&E because my vagina was split open from a glass bottle. All right? So all I'm doing is telling you this is happening. So again, I'm going to go into this. That's just a picture. There is actually a link to this. There is a link. Make all call. Hopefully you've got this. Share this tab instead. Make all court tribunal transcripts available free of charge. Right now, it's already here, as you can see on the screen. 111,000. I don't like the person who's initiated this. It's the black belt barrister. Let me just say, the black belt barrister is married to a Chinese woman. He went out to China. He done a video expressing, well, their digital ID seems to work fine out in China. He's got his camera. A police car's there. He turns his camera away from the police car. He said, I better not film them because I'll get arrested. And then he's actually saying, it's not a bad idea in China to have digital ID. Really? And that's the type of barrister that Rupert Lowe has engaged with, right? That's always a worry. So again, I'm going to show you on a map because I think it's important. Here's the map, and what you can see are these areas here that are in yellow. Hardly anyone's interested. So most of Northern Ireland is not interested. What you can see is a clear border. That's the English border. Can you see the clear border? It's up on the screen there. Then you can see Great Yarmouth, 622 signatures, right? You can see various areas here. Again, fantastic area there. Let's see how well they do against that. 229 signatures in North Devon. Who's the MP there? Liberal Democrat. Right, the Liberal Democrats are going to do nothing. So you can start to see the working class areas all kicking in here. Now, the areas, again, that are not signing, and you can see that they're in literally bright. So Manchester, Rusholm, Ashville, Khan MP, anyone that, again, Sheffield Central, Abisam Mohammed, all of these areas. Oh, look, there's another one. Nadia Whitcomb. Let me have a look and show you some more of these, because what you're seeing on this screen, there's one there. Cambridge. There's another one there. What's that one? Luton North. Another one there. Oxford. Wow. Right, and then there's other areas. So Birmingham, Perrybar, Ayub Khan, Right Honourable Shabina Mahmood, KC MP, Tahir Ali, right? So the areas that you're seeing, let's light these up. Green Party, another one there. Oxford East, right? And guess what, people? There's London, right? So look at the areas of London that are not interested. Asbana Begum, Bethnal Green and Stepney, Rashani Ali. That's why people should get out of Bethnal Green. James Isa MP, Neil Callison MP, Ilford South, Well, can you see how these people are taking control? And what they're doing now is they're getting to, literally, more and more of them are getting to that area. There's another area there. Look at that. Bristol Central, Green Party. They're not interested, right? So where are the areas that we're getting more and more people standing up? Because that starts to give you an indication of where our votes are in a big way, right? But I need to show you this. There's another area there next to there. Exeter, right? I keep telling people out here, they go, well, why don't you go to Exeter? I fucking hate Exeter, that's why. Exeter is like London, right? Or like Cambridge, or like Oxford, right? All I'm doing is showing you on here how bad it is. Now look at that area there. Let's get to there. Cambridge. Like I said, it's disgusting. What's going on? There's another one there. Luton North, like I said before. And if you really went into the detail of that, you will find all of the brightest note, in other words, the no's to this, that don't want this, that they're actually saying they want the detail shut off. But when you look at Scotland don't give a fuck, right? Technically, Northern Ireland is not giving a fuck, right? The strongest there, look at the border of England. Look as you come down the country to these areas, right? Now, I'm just saying to everyone, we're not running out of time. We've run out of time. And people now need to start looking at England, right? Because Scotland ain't with you, Ireland ain't with you, Wales ain't technically with you, apart from one place there. Where's that? Caberphilbyn and Davis MP, right? There it is. Anyone got anything they want to say about that? Can you all see that, by the way? It looks like it's gone off screen. Can you all see me? You won't see it. Graham is teasing me. I'm in Cambridge. I'm not teasing you. Cambridge is really bad. I mean, really bad. They're the whitest of whites on that map. Do you want me to show you the map? Did you see the map, or was it me? Did I cock that up? I do not consent treason crimes against humanity. Don't forget, sharing is caring. The more you share, the more you care. The more you hit the like button, the more you share this, the more people will understand what's going on. Now, do you want to get into a little bit of education with the law books? Cambridge is very left wing. We did see the map. All right. No, I mean extreme. I mean, most of Cambridge is now sold out to the Chinese, believe it or not. Nearly all the properties have been sold to the Chinese. They own Cambridge, which is worrying because of a lot of our ancient manuscripts and laws are in Cambridge University. Can't see mine in South Devon. South Devon. Do you want me to show you it again? Let me have a look and see if I can find it. Where's it gone? I did have it up there somewhere. It's gone on the missing list. Oh, there it is. Great Yarmouth. No, that's not it. Is that the one? Where's it gone? I'll have to go back to the. I'll have to go back to it and find it. But there it is. Pilot praised after crash landing. Faulty Somalia passenger plane on seashore. Rape gang survivor. I was beaten black and blue. It's all on there anyway. Right, so what I'm going to do now, hopefully, is go on to the next part. And that is this. Hopefully we'll bring it up on the screen for you. And then I'll go back there and show it to you. So I'm now going to Halsbury's Laws of England, 4th edition, volume 8, constitutional law. I am going to show you a few things on there, so hopefully we'll hit that and you can see it. So on your screen, hopefully you will see this. Let me see if I can bring it up. Sorry, everyone can see it. Oh, bollocks. There it is. What one's that one? No, let me go back to that. Accession, no, ain't the one. Title to the crown. Right, hopefully you can see this. I've got to try and... How can I raise that without it coming on there? Hang on. I've got the accession on there. Title to the crown. Now, what people don't realise is... I really needed to put this in a different way, but I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it from the book, but show it to you so you know it's on there, right? Descent of the Crown, paragraph 845. Descent of the Crown at common law. At common law, the title to the Crown of England was governed by feudal rules of hereditary descent, formerly applicable to land, subject to the distinctions that in the case of females, the title devolved upon the eldest daughter alone and her issue, and that the ancient doctrines relating to exclusion of the half-blood from the inheritance had no application. In the absence of statutory limitations, therefore, the crown would descend linearly to the issue of the reigning sovereign, males being preferred to females, and the subject of the right of primogeniture amongst both males and females of equal degree, whilst children would represent their deceased ancestors per stirps and infirmitum. Upon failure of lineal descendants, the crown would pass under the rule of the nearest collateral relation descended from blood royal. But then it goes into a lot more detail. Parliament's power to limit the crown, and there ain't a lot of it. But it does say that cannot be admitted to a definite constitutional principle. Due weight must be attributed to the fact that the tenure of the crown since 1688 has depended primarily upon the actions taken by the Lords and the Commons convened in an irregular parliament. Therefore, meaning the Convention Parliament, therefore the crown descends now according to the statutory limitations, but retaining its hereditary and descendable qualities at common law, subject to the statutory provisions. Then it goes on to say that the title to the crown was originally elective, so you elected the king or queen, and the notion of hereditary right grew gradually. What survives of the elective principle is still to be seen in the terms of the coronation ceremony, and that's at paragraph 854, which we'll get onto. We have never cast wholly aside either the hereditary or the elective principle. Our sovereign is still crowned and announced with the same rights. Elective principle of the sovereign will be crowned. Right, so it goes on, and then it tells you the succession. But the most important thing is this book actually tells you that the throne can never die. The sovereign doesn't actually die. It is in effect a legal fiction, right? It tells you that in the book. And then it tells you the allegiances, affirmation, style and titles, marriages. And what I've done is gone and shown that. Sea and air ensigns, natural political attributes of the sovereign. There's lots of things in here. The sovereign spouse. The bit I want to show you is husband and queen, status and privilege. Eldest daughter. Relations of a prerogative to common law and statute. Assignment of prerogatives. Extent of prerogative. Attribute of prerogative. Sovereignty and preeminence. That the sovereign can do no wrong. The law clothes that the sovereign's person with absolute perfection. Hence, it is a maxim of the common law that the king can do no wrong. This is at paragraph 896. Hence, it is a maxim of the common law that the king can do no wrong, and no remedy lies against the sovereign in person, either in civil or criminal matters, for the prerogative is created for the benefit of the people and cannot be exerted to their prejudice. The sovereign is regarded in law as being incapable of thinking wrong or meaning to do an improper act. Hence, when royals' grants are void as being against law or invalid for some latent or other defect, the law holds them void on the grounds that the sovereign is deceived in her grant. In other words, the sovereign has been lied to. Rather than her personal majesty should be lessened by the imputation of intentional wrong. The pursuance of the same principle of perfection, no laches or negligence can be attributed to the sovereign at common law. No delay will bar her right, the maximum of law being time does not run against the king. For certain cases, however, the crown is limited by statute as to the time within the proceedings may be begun, right? And here's the crucial part. The sovereign never dies. Just to make sure you all get what I'm talking about, right? Because I hear this all the time. The sovereign never dies, paragraph 897. The sovereign never dies as another result of foregoing principle of the sovereign is regarded legally as immortal. The maxim of law being that the king never dies. The death of the sovereign in her natural body is therefore termed legally her demise, meaning the transfer of the kingdom to the successor, right? And then it goes into the law, Hill v. Grange, 1555, William v. Berkeley's 1561, Roth's case, 1572. So all of these laws tell you the crown not bound by custom, in other words, they can do what they like, prerogatives and power of authority. The sovereign is the supreme head of state, which is why they can be extracted from the country, and they sign up to some of this stuff, which is what I was trying to say earlier to people. Vacancy of the throne, freedom from arrest, 9/11. So just to make sure that's in there as well. I'm going to go back and show you some of this stuff again because I think it's really important that you get it. Freedom from arrest, right? So any power to commit to prison or to issue warrants of arrest or search warrants which may have been exercisable at common law by the sovereign in person or by the Privy Council, members of the Privy Council or the Secretary of State, whether on their own or own authority or special direction of the sovereign, has been abolished, right? Justice of the Peace Act 1968, replacing Petition of Rights 1627, Section 5, alien enemies do not enjoy the freedom from arrest and imprisonment, right? So you can go after alien enemies. Laws may not be suspended, right? Taxation. The Crown or its ministers may not impose a direct or indirect tax without parliamentary sanction. No man can be compelled to make or yield any gift, loan, benevolent tax or without common consent of the Act of Parliament. Petition of Rights 1627. All of this information is in there. Election. The Crown may not interfere with the election of members of Parliament, which ought to be free, nor impeach or question the freedom of speech and debates or proceedings in Parliament, which ought not to be impeached or questioned in any court or place outside Parliament. Bill of Rights. And also Edward I, Statute of the Westminster I, 1275. I've brought all this up, by the way, before. And again, everyone needs to understand this. It's not minor, it's pretty major constitutional law. Right? So again, the basic right of an Englishman in this country, so if they suspend or don't allow you to vote in local elections, you don't have to pay your council tax. And the local council cannot enforce any law, right? And they can't make law, which is really important. Impeachment. The Crown is restrained from shielding its ministers and servants by means of pardons from a parliamentary inquiry into illegal acts. For no pardon under the Great Seal is pleadable to an impeachment by the Commons in Parliament, but a pardon may be granted for sentence. So just to make sure everyone's aware of that, there is no pardon pleadable for treason. Constitutional checks upon improper exercise of prerogative, subjection to the law. There's lots of information in here, and what I was doing was literally going through it and saying to our friend Bo from another group of people, let me stop sharing for a second, what that information was. And let me just make sure I can bring this up, because I think it's this one that says it. Let me make sure I've got this up on the screen. Let me have a look and see if I can find this on there. There it is. There's another one there. Just wanted to show you it. Oh. It's that one. There's a double part of this that I need to show you, but you're not going to be able to see it on the screen at the moment. But I'm going to throw this back out there, and you'll be able to see it. If you can't make sense of what I'm saying, it's because I'm sort of running through it pretty lively. What you should see at the bottom of that page there, and it might be cutting out with some of my head and little mini part. 956, privilege of royal palaces. On the same principle, no arrest can be made in the sovereign's presence or within the verge of a royal palace. No judicial process can be executed within a royal palace which is used or kept in readiness for use as a royal residence, even though the sovereign is not at the time residing there, right? Just to make sure you get this, at 995, just above there, so I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'll bring it up a little bit further. 955, arrest. The sovereigns. So the question was, could the sovereign be arrested and charged with anything? And the answer is no, right? And there's plenty of reasons why, but basically it's constitutional law that the king can do no wrong. The sovereign's person cannot be arrested. This privilege extends in civil suits to persons and criminal, to persons of Her Majesty's household who are liable to be bona fide, substantially and continually employed in waiting or attending on the royal person, unless the leave of the Lord Chamberlain to the arrest first obtained. So what they're saying is the king cannot be arrested for anything, criminally or not. But if any of his household were to do something wrong, that privilege extends to them. So if you've got paedophiles working in the palace, they effectively have got immunity to prosecution. Just to make sure you understand that. So any paedophiles working in a palace or access to the palace or have been given any privileges by the king as a servant of the king, they are, and now you start to think about Jimmy Savile, right? You first need to go to the Lord Chamberlain to arrest the first, for an arrest warrant to be made out, right? Just to let you know. So all of that information and the detail of that is there. Let me go back to my audience. Did you all understand what I just said then? So not only does it, so first of all, the king cannot be arrested for criminal or civil. In other words, it's a no-go. But if you was to protest and petition in or around a palace, and it was within that area, it was what they call the verge, right? So they'll show you the area. If you was on there, they cannot arrest you, right? You're not allowed to arrest someone on the verge. So if you're planning some sort of someone's saying about Sandringham, right? What I'm telling you is that I believe the property that Andrew has been placed in at Sandringham means that he is not on the verge. It is outside of 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 the residents of Sandringham, and he's been stripped of his titles. He's been placed in that place, and if the police want to come and arrest him, they can. That's what I see in law is what is part of the pieces, and I believe President Trump come over and said to him, meaning the king, your brother has been trafficking young girls from America, and I believe that he's already been indicted. It hasn't been unsealed, and I believe a grand jury indictment has already been technically issued, but it's just not been unsealed. And you could see Prince Andrew being lifted, questioned, and sent out to the United States of America to face trial. That's what I think. That's only me putting the little things together to think, why did he take his titles away? Why did he move him away from Windsor? So there's a whole verge surrounding Windsor Castle, right, and Buckingham Palace, and you can't arrest anyone on that land constitutionally. But if a residence designated for Andrew, fucking whatever his name is now, Windsor, Warrenburg or whatever, he's banging trouble. That's what I think, and I think it's already happening. I would like to know what the audience thinks. Don't forget sharing is caring. Don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget, whatever you do, subscribe. There's a lot going on, but the main thing I am concentrating on is England, constitutional law, understanding the constitutional law. I may be going along this Friday, I'm not 100% sure yet, to Rupert Lowe's little do he's having in Great Yarmouth. So if there's anyone out there, I might have to probably stay in not a hotel, but I do want to see if I can get along to that, because I want to listen to exactly what's being said. I might even live stream it. Archanaut, totally agree. Trump's unusual second state visit was a clue. Totally agree. Trump's unusual second. No, it was very. There is something going on there, and I don't know. I'm only guessing, but it's an educated guess. You don't remove the titles of your brother. Bear in mind, I think Andrew was second in line for the throne. You don't remove the titles off him and do what the king has done, and then moved him out of Windsor Castle, told him, I'm not paying you, you're not getting anything from the public purse, nothing, right? He's been told something, and he's putting Andrew in a position to say, everyone is saying at the moment that Andrew has got mental health issues and he's acting very erratically. Well, what's happened? He's finally been told, listen, you've got no protection whatsoever. You're just like a normal person now. They want to come and arrest you, they can arrest you. Let's see how you get on. You've got no protection of the royal family or the public. You've got no constitutional protections. If you've hurt children and raped children, and I believe that King Charles has been shown evidence from the Epstein files of Andrew potentially raping little girls. That's what I believe. And Rachel Chandler, do you remember the famous photograph where Andrew was with this woman, was with, what's her name, Guthrie? The one who went to live in Australia. I forget her name, I do apologise to her and her family. She later died in a car crash. She was the one who got 12 million. Andrew denied that he was ever there. He said the photos are fake. And it turns out that Rachel Chandler was the person who took the photo. That information is all in the Epstein files. All right. So you can now see that Andy has been lying. There's more images coming out of him with a very small child laying on the floor. Right. Yeah. I always give people I never met. I always give people I never met 12 million. You know, that exactly. We live in one of the most corrupt systems you can ever imagine. And the British, so we need to go back to being England, Scotland. Northern Ireland, I believe, is a separate country. The law books tell me that. I'm not having a bitch at the Northern Irish. They are more English than the English. They absolutely believe in the English Bill of Rights, and they should be a separate nation with a hard border. And they will get a privileged trading nation or best trading status with England, and also be a protectorate of England, the same as the Isle of Man is. What do you all think of that? Put your hands up in the chat if you love Northern Ireland, but you love Northern Ireland as an independent nation. It's the option that's never been given to them. It's never been given currently to the English, by the way. Let me have a quick look. Good, Mum. Merry Old England. Good question. What was the question from Merry Old England? Merry Old England. Let's see if we can find a question from you. Seeing as Merry Old England question: Can a king dissolve Parliament from a place overseas? Yeah. Is the answer? He can dissolve it anywhere he wants. In fact, yes, he can. In 19, I think it was, and don't quote me on the year, I think it was 1985, that the Queen sent a directive to the Governor General of Australia to dissolve the Parliament and go for a re-elections, and said you have to elect again because they didn't like what had gone on with the election. So the Queen was here and dissolved that Parliament. If the instruction comes from the monarch and it is confirmed as an instruction, it may be a written and signed, etc., or whatever, but the instruction should come. Wilner, he didn't. The Queen paid it. Because he's skint. And evidently, his ex-wife first is just as bad, if not worse. It's funny how you should say that, Holy England, because there was an article I read the other day where she was bleating about how skint she was. She don't know skint, trust me. But she was bleating about how skint she was. And King Charles was saying how concerned he was with Andrew. Because did you know that Andrew has now been accused of giving secrets away to Epstein? And all of this information has come out, by the way. The king knows all about it. He's been told all about it. And BAM7, DD, what book was you reading the Constitution regarding elections from, please? This one. Houseby's Laws of England. There it is there. Hang on, let's see if you can see it on the screen. You probably can't. That's it. I took the angle off it. Houseby's Laws of England, 4th edition. Lord Hailsham of St Marybone, Volume 8, and then you've got Constitutional Law. And there's another one there, but I've got another one somewhere. All about elections, funny enough. Oh, is that the one? Was this just constitutional law? That's just constitutional law. Here's another one here. The law and the Constitution. Let's see which one this one is. Is that the one? The law and another. Let me just see what this is. I'm sure that is it. Oh no, it ain't. Hang on a minute. Let's see. That's a different page of a book. I've lost that one. The Treatise of Law of Elections. That one there, right, goes into a lot of detail, which our laws are. And the bit that I was super annoyed about during our trial is that we mentioned this book. We then told the judges, and again, it's something that everyone should understand. We told the judges, what book's that one? We told the judges about the Southmeath case and what the judges have said. And basically what I was saying to the judges was, there's the authority to say the common law governs elections, not statute. And tell me what authority you would, or the other side, rely on to tell me that it isn't. And no one, and the other side couldn't give any authority to say that statute was the sole. I mean, everyone said. So when did it change? Bearing in mind the English Bill of Rights, Article 8 says freedom of elections, and that's not just freedom of election in Parliament. That's freedom of elections everywhere. And you must understand that local elections are mini parliaments, right? Whether you like it or not, they're mini parliaments. Anyone know where I could get a copy, please? Go and have a research. Have a look on eBay. There are places, if you put it in, you'll find it. Thank you, Tracy. Truism, permits, no position. BAMS, hi BAMS. Is administrative law a British construction, Graham? No. Administrative law is a construction of Europe, in particular of Romans, and in particular of the Normans. Administrative law, as we know it today, come across with the Normans. They were the ones who created magistrates, but they kept the common law in England. They said they thought it was a good system and it worked well, and they didn't want to upset people. Really? Yeah, that's what they said. If you wish to send Daddy Dragon a personal donation, yeah, don't forget to hit my other thing, because this is I can't even see if it's on there or not. I bet we've deleted it. The king in doubt. Let's have a look and see where I am. Afghan asylum seeker. Great Yarmouth petition map. Can't get to any of the other information on there. So yeah, there's loads of things going on, but I'm more trying to just make sure you understand that anything I tell you, it comes out of the law books. It's not as if I don't read them. Not only do I read them, I read the case law, and in these books, they often tell you where it comes. So, for example, election 916, it then tells you Bill of Rights, and it also says Edward the First, Statute of Westminster 1275, which I brought up in our case, which prohibits the subject from interfering with elections by force of arms, malice or menacing, and see elections. Right. So if you go and look at elections, it tells you all about that, and the Bill of Rights. So let me just see elections is in here, because I had that come out before. Where did that come from? Let me see if I can bring it up. There's another part of this, which is elections. What's that one? Estoppel, evidence, litigation, purge procedure. That's all in there. Where's my elections bit gone? Let me have a look. Crown and subject. There's some cracking bits in this. But people wouldn't, you've only got to go through this and people will understand. There's a crown again. Going all through the information. Let's go back to the elections. Duties and rights of the subject. Introduction. What is meant by conflict of laws? This is the one where it tells you meaning of country. A state, in a sense of public international law, may or may not coincide with a country, but in this sense, the conflicts of laws. Unitary state like France, Italy, New Zealand, and countries like this, because the law is the same throughout. On other hand, England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, each of the Australian American states and each Canadian province is a country in the sense of conflict of laws. So the states in America are individual states, and the same as England, right? So the UK is not a country, it's a unitary state. And again, if I went to the bottom part of this, just to make sure I read this out and everyone understands it, right? In the conflicts of laws, foreign element and foreign country mean a non-English element and a country other than England. From the point of view of conflict of laws, Scotland or Northern Ireland is, for most purposes, as much a foreign country as France or Germany. I couldn't make it more clearer, right? And it is this book, and that's at paragraph 401, that tells you that, right? So, again, that's the bit that gets me, is when you're trying to explain this stuff to people, and they come out of all this nonsense because they are lied to in school. It's as simple as that. They are literally lied to. Whereas what I do is tell you the truth. They don't like it. They've never liked it. Any questions from this wonderful audience? Let's have a look and see if I can go any further. Aylesbury Laws of England, 4th edition, volume 8, Constitutional Laws. What book was that? Or books? I'm stuck at Lidl's. Let me have a quick look. There's another book here. Now the other one, I have to be careful with this because I'm getting weak in my old age. There is another book, right? Have a look at that. Now this one was actually donated to me by Mark, EP70, Aylesbury's Laws of England, 2nd edition, volume 1, right? And again, when you go through all this and you can look up all the information. This is going back even earlier, and it tells you exactly, because the constitutional law don't really change, right? Well, it's not supposed to change. So all of the information you want is ever in there. By the way, there's so much good stuff in this book. Let me bring out this one. This tells you that rights of principle against agent. Lots of information in here, but again, a lot of this information is misconstrued by people like free men of the land who don't actually understand it or have even read it. Covenants and customs of the country. The custom of the country. There it is. There's loads of different bits and pieces. Let me see if there's a good bit in here. Offences and penalties. What's this? Of aliens. This is great stuff. If you read up on aliens in this book, everything that we're sort of suggesting as English people, not British, English, was already English law, like deporting aliens who commit offences. Right? It was already English law. It's the British that you've brought in that have changed all that information. That's it. I took my son out of school. Best thing I ever did. No, I agree. Don't fall over and break your pelvis. No, let me tell you something. My hip has been killing me for some reason. I think my pelvic area has not been getting any exercise. No, we won't go down that road. Right, Nosy Poke. Starmer C says you'll never walk away from the country you love. Wonder how long before a U-turn. He'll be gone shortly. Very shortly. Pretty shocking. Our whole world is upside down. Yeah, no, it is. But again, so we've got a seminar coming up at Barrow and Furness, right? So on the map I showed you earlier, that is like a strong area, but we need to get as many people there as possible. You know, not the free man and land nutters, people who really want to understand that we have a constitution, that you're being lied to and have been lied to, that you've been indoctrinated to believe you're British. You've only got to look at that border, right? And on that map, it clearly shows it. So it's not me being pedantic. It's me telling you what the law is. I think we will, but we just have to keep pushing forward. Right, I think I'm going to leave. I am going to shoot off and take a book up to read, believe it or not. And then try and get some sleep for tomorrow, get my hair cut. And then I'm thinking about getting there to... I don't know, how far's Great Yarmouth from here? It's a fair old trot. Graham, do you think the constitutional crisis is on the horizon that you predicted in concern with the Starmer said 2 years ago? Yeah. Something is going to happen. I mean, I predicted it was going to happen in June last year, right? I thought it would happen by June last year. And obviously it started, it definitely is, something is happening. I can see that people have started to panic. Ace Jace, I will be there. Where are you going? Ace Jace, where are you going? West Ham 0, Man United 0. I know who Man United is. Who's that? Oh, West Ham. Yeah, I know them. Tracy Truism, if you wish to send Daddy Dragon a personal donation, I'll have to find my... Where's that thing gone? It's bloody annoying. Oh, there it is. I found it. Donor box is probably easier for a lot of people. So if you want to give me a donation, Tracy, if you can grab this and put this link out, it's probably a lot easier for people to donate to me via that, right? Only because they can click on it and do it with their card or whatever. They can put in monthlies, they can do whatever they want. It's often a lot easier. Oh, right, you're going to Great Yarmouth. Where are you staying then? Let me have a quick look. They are most dangerous when they are in panic mode. I agree with that comment. I agree with that. Once you've always got to give someone an out. It's like cornering a dangerous animal, right? If the only way it's going to go is at you, unless you give it an out. Let me have a look. Wait until Trump leases the really bad half of the files. We've only got the mid half up until now. Will not. Exactly right. There's a lot more coming. And not only that, you've got Thomas Massey and others that are going in there and unredacting the bits. And they've said that they'll be speaking about that. So, and they've actually said that some of this information should be unredacted. He's already said today, there was a press conference, and Thomas Massey already said today, there's photographs and names of people that are very prominent that are directly involved with Epstein, and the public have the right to know. Graham Moore's got to sing Bubbles of Weary. I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. They fly so high, they reach the sky. Light burst down, they fade and die. No, I'm only joking. Right, let's go out. So why are they naming all the victims? Let me have a look. Emerald, Robinson, Mossy, Massey, AJ, exactly, going to mum. Right, I am going to be, I'll have a think about definitely going up there. That's it. It would be nice to see some of you up there, but also, I've then got an interview next week, which I'm not saying who it's with. Hopefully, I've got to go back and check with him, which I might do at the end of this just to make sure he gives me his address. And then I'm going to be the next week after that. It is Barrow and Furnace in Cumbria, and we need to really be getting that out there, right? So people come along and make sure they do come along to it. Get all the information up there, and make sure they got everything. My granddad used to sing that song. Yeah. Mr. Hempman, I saw a video where a guy copied and pasted and revealed the redacted. Bang on, go to mum. Don't know what that's about. Good night, DD. God bless everyone. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. And I will see you tomorrow evening, same time, 8 p.m. And hopefully we'll go through more stuff. There's plenty more to talk about, but I'm trying to concentrate on England and the rape and torture gangs. I believe it's crucially important that we get that message out there. Try and send as many. Tell Elon Musk we need your help. Come on, United. I don't know about that. Sharing is caring. So the share is also out there. Don't forget, hit the like button. I am now off. Tiddly poo.